Before this video starts, I do want to say one thing and one thing first before we begin the art challenge. While recording this, I did have to look back at the script, and I realized that instead of making Glitter Lucky a Sylveon, I made her a Shiny Lopunny instead. But I will have the alt versions of the Glitter Force girls as Pokemon on my Patreon and also on my Ko-fi, however you want to say it. So I apologize for the confusion at the very beginning of this video. That's what I wanted to say real quickly. So without further ado, let's get started, and that's all I wanted to say, and I'm gonna stop right now before this gets way too long. So yeah. Hey pups! RB here, and welcome back to another art challenge video. And today's challenge is turning Glitter Force characters into Pokemon, or Smile Pretty Cure, depending on which version of the anime you watch. I usually prefer dubs over subs. No matter how bad the dubs are, I can't read subtitles and watch the show at the same time. So I apologize for those subtitle lovers out there watching this video. I've been super obsessed with the anime as of late, and watched all episodes of seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix, and I recommend it for those curious about the anime. You can find them on free streaming anime sites as well if you don't have a Netflix account. Anyways, on to today's art challenge. The first character we have is Emily/Glitter Lucky, aka Miyuki or Cure Happy. I feel like since her color scheme is basically nothing but pink shades and colors, I wanted to find a good Pokemon that will match her color scheme. And no, I'm actually gonna try not to make them into evolutions like I did with Sailor Moon, but this is probably the only exception for this character. So since her color scheme is practically nothing but pink, and her magical girl names are Lucky and Happy, and she also has a love for books and fairy tale stories, I decided to go with Sylveon, a fairy type Pokemon to show off her love of fairy tales, and to correspond with her pink color scheme. And also she seems like the type of character to be a fairy type Pokemon, or a Pokemon pretty much similar to Sylveon. I actually wanted to try Shiny Lopunny at one point, but I couldn't decide which one I liked more. So I did two different versions of it. Her as a Sylveon, and one of her as a Shiny Lopunny. Let me know in the comments which version is your favorite. Up next we have Kelsey / Glitter Sunny, or Haino / Cure Sunny. And since she's definitely more of a fiery spirit, similar to Sailor Mars from Sailor Moon, I decided to make her an Infernape for this one instead of a Flareon, cause I already did that for Mars in my Sailor Moon challenge. And as said earlier, I'm trying my hardest not to make these girls evolutions. I also tried super hard not to make Sunny too similar to another Infernape character, Veruca from the Pokémon fan comic, Random Doom by Tamer Frog, formerly known as Behind TG, but I think in the end, I thought it seemed pretty good regardless. Next we have Lily / Glitter Peace or Yayo / Cure Peace. I actually had a hard time deciding what Pokemon she'd be that involved electricity, that wasn't Jolteon, since her powers are more lightning and electric based. I think in the end, I decided to make her a Pikachu, because when I was looking up fan art crossovers of Glitter Force characters and Pokemon, I noticed Peace was often associating with Pikachu. She's also like Sailor Moon in a way. She's the Glitter Force version of Usagi. She's a bit of a crybaby, but she's also adorable. And she's also an inspiring manga artist, which I love the most about her. I think in the end, I like the idea of Peace being a Pikachu, and I was surprisingly pleased with the results. Up next we have Cleo / Glitter Breeze, or Rika / Cure Beauty. I kind of found it hard to turn her into a certain ice-type Pokemon, since her powers are more ice and water-based, similar to Sailor Mercury, so when I looked at different ice-type Pokemon, I decided to do two different versions similar to Glitter Lucky. For the first one, I went with Frostlass, to fit her aesthetic and her powers as well, as well as some cultural background because, correct me if I'm wrong, she seems to live more traditionally, since the location they live is in Japan, as opposed to the other Glitter Force characters. She and her family have more traditional Japanese style of living, and I wanted to use Frostlass for that reason because Frostlass is based off of the Japanese yokai. The Snow Ghost Lady is what I call it. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be racist or anything. If I am, I apologize in advance. And for the second one, I went with Alola Ninetales because, again, similar reasons. And Ninetales is based off of the Kitsune from Japanese folklore. And I just thought Frostlass and Alola Ninetales both fit Bruce's aesthetic and ice power as well. Or well enough in my opinion. Next we have April / Glitter Spring, aka Nayo / Cure March. And since her name is April / Glitter Spring in the dub, or Cure March in the sub, and her powers are definitely more grass and plant based, I went with the obvious of making her a grass type Pokemon. I couldn't decide what grass type to make her at first. I wanted to make her a Servine or Steenie at first, but I think at the end I went with a Serena, but adding a few tweaks to the design. Like I did with the others, I added a few of my own touches here and there. I kept the idea of turning her into a Serena, but made her closer to Spring's design in the anime. And in the end, I ended up loving it more than I probably did. Next we have Candy and her brother Pop. I want to make them both baby Pokemon, or at least the first stage Pokemon, and I was having a hard time figuring out what Pokemon Candy would be. So in the end, I ended up turning her into a Pichu, and kept the little bow she has in her ear puffs, or is it hair? I don't know. As for Pop, he was more of a challenge, and I wanted him to be more of a first stage Pokemon rather than a baby Pokemon. I wanted to make him a cat Pokemon, but I didn't think it'd be a good idea. In the end, I decided to make him into a Growlithe, and I think I ended up liking it. And of course, I am doing the villains for this one. Up next we have Ulrich or Wolf Run, again depending on which version of the anime you watch. For Ulrich, I want to make him a canine, most definitely, and I thought about turning him into a Midnight Lycanroc or a Mighty Anna, but to fit his design a little more, I went with Zoroark in the end. Matching his long hair, cool guy aesthetic and style, and the fact that he's also a bit of a trickster, and uses black magic to summon things known as Akambes or buffoons to battle with, And since Zoroark is a dark type and is known as the illusion Pokemon, I thought it'd be fitting. Also, Ulrich is one of my favorites in the anime, and I love him a lot. Next we have Brute, or Akaone, and since Brute is a big tough guy, I want to make him a fighting type Pokemon. So to match his brute strength and monstrous personality and appearance, I figured Mudchoke would be the perfect Pokemon for him. Also, fun fact, I looked up what shiny colors Mudchoke had in its shiny form, and it was green, and I didn't like it. Because I thought if its shiny form was red, it'd be perfect for Brute. And I honestly found a green Mudchoke was super ugly, and not very fitting. So I made the blue shading Mudchoke has darker than it normally was, and I made the red markings the color Brute has on his skin. Up next we have Bruja, or Margarina, and since she has two forms, I made two Pokemon to match them both. Her old witch lady form as Miss Magius, and her beauty form as Gardevoir. Since she's a witch and uses magic, I figured Miss Magius would be perfect, and so would Gardevoir, and to match her attractive form, since Gardevoir seems to have a lot of weird desperate fanboys drooling all over it. I mean, it's a character from a video game, guys. It's not that big of a deal. I also looked up Shiny Miss Magius, and found that it was a shade of puke green or pea yellow. Kinda similar to Mudchoke, and I really didn't like it. So I decided to keep the OG colors Miss Magius has, and added on Bruja's cape to the design, and kept the cape on Gardevoir's design. And since the OG design of Gardevoir already has green on it, I kept it like that. Finally, we have Rascal, and I'm not even joking when I say his name, from the Japanese dub, Joker. I swear. Every time I hear Joker, my mind automatically goes to the Batman villain. Again, Rascal was a challenge. So, I decided to look up Clown or Joker Pokemon, but since I couldn't find a good Pokemon to fit him, not even Mr. Mime could do the job. I decided to turn him into a Bandit, instead of a Clown or Jester Pokemon. Since he gives off a really creepy and unsettling vibe, and so does Bandit, I figured they fit perfectly well together. And I was right! And if you're wondering, no, I'm unfortunately not doing Queen Euphoria or Emperor No-Go, because that'd be way too much for me to do. Alright, that does it for this challenge. Comment your favorite Pretty Cure / Glitterforce character in the comments below. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next one, pups. Cue the outro, RP is out, peace!